Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's your brother Gabriel Romaani from ISLAMIC. We're taking your questions. Again, just a reminder, please support the program. Check out the links in the description. Let's get into it today. We have an interesting question from a brother. I found taweez. Taweez is a leather pocket that's hung around the neck or on the wrist, basically, that says it has prayers and it's meant to protect you. This is not correct, and we totally discourage people from using taweez, which might lead them to shirk. He says that I found this in my wife's jacket and took them to a person who deals with taweez. He said one is for me to cut all ties with my family, and the other one is so I fall in love with my wife and become her slave. I confronted her and she's denied everything. I've recently found out her family deals in black magic and this is normal for them. What should I do? Okay, this is a very serious matter. So two things that the taweez was meant to do. Number one is to cut all ties with the families, and as we know, this is one of the objectives of black magic and taweez. And number two is for him to not only fall in love with her, but to become her slave, to basically follow her and obey her and do whatever she wants. And of course, when confronted, she has denied everything. So what should you do? And he found out that her family deals with black magic. From certain backgrounds and cultures, people consider this to be okay. People who profess Islam and have beards and look very religious will be involved with this, claiming that they have control over the jinn, that Allah has given them, that you have to fight jinn with jinn, involved in all kinds of ludicrous type of behavior, thinking that this is part of Islam. Now what happens in some cases is the family that, the daughter comes from is involved in these things. The brother's family is not. They get married, the brother doesn't know. Or the other way around. Finally, something happens and they discover, like in this case. This is a huge problem. Now, what would the taweez be doing in this woman's pocket? What is she doing with it? Why is it meant to break that family ties? And why is it meant to make the guy be a slave? Of course, people deny stuff like this, but I would say it's a huge red flag for the brother. First thing I would say is confront her and ask her to explain to us, number one, why does she want you to break family ties? If she denies it, I would say that this can lead to more serious consequences that you should take. Because this is not something like she, just hid something from you or she got angry with you. You're talking here about shirk and iman. You're talking here about black magic, sihr, which is kufr. You're talking about very, very serious things. Now, someone might say, oh, it's okay, brother, don't be too harsh. Just forgive. You're talking here about iman, about dunya and akhirah, about jannah and jahannam. This is not something easy to be taken. That's the most important thing. Confront her more and ask as to why did she want the family to break up. Keep pushing. Number two, as to why does she want you to be her slave? You're her husband, alhamdulillah. You love her, inshallah. There's no such thing as a slave-master relationship here, but there's a hierarchy and you are the leader of the family. Clear. That's not going to be reversed. If she denies all these things, you should really tell her to make tawbah. And if she gets involved in this kind of behavior again, I would say that, this is a great grounds. It's a big grounds for you to actually cut ties. And I can tell you many, many sheikhs and ulama who from the start would tell you to cut it. You see, again, brothers and sisters, I know you might be like, brother, are you encouraging people to divorce? I'm not encouraging people to divorce. That's not, anyone who knows and has taken counseling with me, they know that the divorce is like the last step. But here you're talking about shaitan entering your house. You're talking about shirk. You're talking about what if you have children and they see this or they're influenced by that. You don't play with sihr just like that because, culturally coming from that background, people would say, well, this is the way we can secure our husband's love. And I don't like his family, they've hurt me. Maybe they did. That does not justify you to do black magic or taweez that is meant to break the family ties. Because breaking the family ties, silatul rahim, is one of the major, major problems and big sins. You cannot do that. So if you are encouraging or trying to get someone to do that, you are contributing that sin. You understand? You are responsible for the sin. So brothers and sisters who might be very critical right now of me for saying that maybe you might have to cut it off. Keep in mind what we are dealing with here, iman and kufr. This is not your average problem between a husband and a wife that happens on a daily or monthly or yearly basis. You're talking about losing your faith. You're talking about going to Jahannam. And many people from, Southeast Asia take these things very lightly. And actually they think that it's part of Islam and it's securing your husband's love and protection from his family. Again, maybe his family hurt you. I don't know. I'm just hypothetically speaking here. That does not justify for you to do such behavior, to have such behavior. It's impossible. So for the brother, again, I would say, confront, expose, look at the evidence, keep pushing, and tell her, look, if you don't come, if you come forward and straight about this and clean, and you recognize, you acknowledge, I will, let's say, forgive, and we can deal with it. But if she doesn't, or if you don't, then I might take drastic measures such as divorce, and I'll send you back to your parents' house and do what you want. You guys can have your sihr party, okay? But I'm not going to tolerate this in my house. Actually, you would be, as a man, entitled to tell her to stay away from her family because of them being involved in black magic, which actually makes them, invalidates their Islam. Very clear, their Islam would be invalidated. They're basically not Muslim. And you would have the right to tell her to stay away from them because of what they are engaged in. Now, if they make tawbah, and you should ask her, and you and yourself go to her family and ask them to make tawbah and to stop this. And if they do that, then maybe you can reestablish the connection. But if not, you have the right to cut away from them, and her to cut away from her. And you as a husband have the right to tell her to cut away from her, from her family, because of what they are doing. And for any critics who think that this is wrong, the wrong device, you can check with the ulama, and you can see we're dealing with shirk and sihr, not with like, oh, inheritance or some problems or some, my cousin said this and my sister said that. No, we're not talking about joint family system or living together. No, we're talking here about iman and kufr. We're talking about Jannah and Jahannam. Barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.